Welcome everyone to the SellPoint Rethink Identity webinar series. Today's topic is the number one blind spot in identity programs, unstructured data. I'm Luis Romero from the product marketing team, and also joining me today is Dave Bullis, who is our technology evangelist on our product management team. To start off, we're going to talk about some of the things that are happening in our world that are transforming what the new normal looks like across organizations today. We'll talk about some of the real risks that these forces are creating when it comes to your unstructured data. Then we'll get into some of the steps we need to take in order to start taking control and protecting this unstructured data. And we'll finish with Dave providing a demo on how, together with Identity IQ and also File Access Manager, you can take a holistic identity governance approach to protecting not only your applications, but also your data. Let's kick it off by digging into some of the forces that are disrupting organizations today. I think we're all painfully aware of the global disruption being caused by the pandemic. For the sake of safety, almost every organization has had to quickly get their workforce transitioned to be productive remotely outside of the office. But in the spirit of productivity, their speedy reaction has caused an over-provisioning of access not only to applications, but also to the variety of unstructured data repositories. And this haste to freely enable access has also opened up many security gaps. But also lingering in the background is an ongoing wave of data privacy regulations and requirements that have continued to gain momentum since the introduction of GDPR in 2018, and many organizations feel like they're a step behind in keeping up. Let's dive into some of the risks surrounding your unstructured data. The rise of data breaches over the years has spurred the introduction of global data privacy regulations that are specifically designed to protect sensitive data, including consumer, health, and financial information. GDPR is perhaps most well known for kicking off this need. Many other data privacy regulations in various regions have quickly followed suit to protect consumer data in a similar manner. The California Consumer Privacy Act, better known as CCPA, went into effect on January 1st of 2020. But the next big date of importance is coming up on July 1st, 2020, which is when the state of California is expected to begin enforcing this law. In light of GDPR and CCPA and other regulations, organizations across all industries now face the daunting task of addressing not only the existing data privacy requirements, but all the future ones that are still coming to effect across the globe. Concerns around addressing data privacy are very real. 56% of organizations actually highlighted locating unstructured data as their most difficult issue when it comes to data privacy. Perhaps in an even more worrisome stat is that almost 40% of organizations who must comply with GDPR suffered a data breach in 2019. We've all seen in the media what the impact and aftermath of a data breach can do to a company, ranging from financial penalties, impact to company valuation, and brand damage. Given the potential ramifications, every organization needs to be concerned with unstructured data. Protecting applications alone is no longer enough. Today, end users are downloading, extracting, and copying an enormous volume and variety of data into files as they collaborate more widely within the organization. Think of all the Word documents, the spreadsheets, and the slides you're creating every day. It soon adds up to hundreds of millions of files and hundreds of terabytes, or sometimes petabytes of data across the organization. This user-generated content is then stored in file shares, SharePoint, and cloud storage systems such as Dropbox and Google Drive. Much of this content includes sensitive data with little visibility that is now unprotected throughout the organization with little to no control. With 80% of all enterprise data now residing in unstructured data files, organizations are continuing to open themselves up to significant security and compliance risk. As long as data keeps making its way out of applications, the volume of unstructured data will keep growing. Without any consistent governance across both applications and data, this will be an ongoing issue. With many cyber attacks aimed at vast troves of unstructured data, often there are no data breach detection measures in place to help alert on any malicious activity. A lack of visibility not only impedes your ability to identify inappropriate access, but limits your ability to know where your data is, what sensitive information it contains, and makes it especially difficult to address data privacy and other compliance regulations. And as many more organizations migrate their data to the cloud, many are simply shifting their risk to yet another data repository with little insight or control. If you're unsure whether your organization is addressing and managing its unstructured data in the right manner, Ask yourself these three questions. Do you know who is currently accessing your data? Are you sure that none of your sensitive data is fully exposed for anyone to access? The second question is, do you know who should actually have access to your data? As an example, if you have consumer data, are you able to verify that only the right users have access to this data if you were audited? The last question is, how is this access being used? Are you able to monitor any suspicious behavior that may have malicious intent? If you're not able to answer these questions, then you probably have a much bigger blind spot than you think when it comes to your unstructured data. But this is a blind spot that you can shine a light on by extending your identity program to include unstructured data. By leveraging identity for both your applications and data, you can now get the visibility and control you need to answer those three questions. Whether you're ensuring your users receive the right size set of access to applications and data to do their job when they need it, or adhering to data privacy requirements, with a holistic identity approach, you can accelerate business, protect your data, and achieve continuous compliance. Next, I'll turn it over to Dave to talk about what you can do to address your unstructured data.
Well, thanks, Lewis. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about how you can take control of your unstructured data. At SailPoint, we recognize that governance is really important for a lot of different businesses for a lot of different reasons. The ability to see who has access to what, the ability to govern that with entitlement reviews and control it with access requests and put policies in place. This is a critical set of features, and we also recognize that this is not a set of features that's limited to just applications. Many years back, SailPoint built a platform when it first started that was focused on apps. We wanted to make sure applications were properly governed. We've extended that to have mainframe support, connect to your CRM and HR systems, databases. And about 5 years ago, we discovered that, you know what, there's really a significant gap here. We have done a fantastic job of protecting the data that sits inside applications by looking at the applications from the front. What about the back? What happens when someone takes information from one application, exports it to an Excel spreadsheet, builds a graph, puts that graph in a PowerPoint presentation, and sends that PowerPoint presentation somewhere? What happens is the data that's protected while it's in the application is unprotected when it's sitting out there in files. It was a significant gap. So we went about to fix that gap. And at SailPoint, we've extended our Identity IQ platform to include sensitive data that sits in files by integrating File Access Manager. So instead of having this big gap over to the right, our identity governance platform covers all of it. The same policies, the same rules, the same entitlement reviews, the same risk assessments, all of that, all of the features of the platform extended to your file servers, your collaboration systems like SharePoint, cloud storage like Google Drive and OneDrive and Box, network attached storage systems like NetApp filers and EMC devices. We have taken all of the key features of governance and we've made them available across applications and data. You don't have to re-implement anything. You don't have to reinvent the wheel here. You've already built the governance systems in place. You put the policies in place. You have the regular reviews going on. You've got access requests happening. Fantastic. Those same features, the exact same ones you're using now, extended to data stored in files in addition to applications and systems. Of course, when you look at data in files, there are some additional features you need. You need to find where your sensitive data is. You need to monitor those files in real time and do in-depth permission analysis to understand all of the factors that can influence how you get access to those files. That's all built into part of the platform. It's protect your file-specific help that comes with File Access Manager. And that's why we have a separate module there. But the two modules combine into one platform that gives you all of the features you see here in a single place. This means you're going to know where your data lives and what's in it. It means IT doesn't have to take guesswork over, oh gosh, what platform is that? Well, that platform I cover with this. Oh, that platform, I don't have coverage for Box. Oh, you know what? When it gets to files, I really don't know what's in there. Nope, all the guesswork is gone. When you need to be compliant, you will be compliant. Whether that's GDPR or that's PCI or that's HIPAA or that's, you get the idea. You are already implementing compliance controls. Those compliance controls extend naturally to sensitive data, and not only do the controls extend, but you also have the ability to go find that data, analyze the permissions, and see it in real time. And all of that is driving down your data risk. To understand where your data is, we provide the tools that identify where it resides. We classify data based on the contents. This is looking inside individual files to be able to tell you exactly what access they have and where that access should be. We have the ability to map that access to how it was granted, which groups, which nested inside which groups, which file policies, which all of those things, which links have you sent out in your cloud storage, factor together to tell you who has access to what. We're going to help you assign stewards to the data. We have the capabilities to go out and find the business people responsible for those folders and files out there. You've got a container in box that has a bunch of data, we'll find the owner for that. You've got a folder out there sitting on a network attached storage device with an obscure name like FP2007, we can find the owner for that too. The whole key here is our ability to understand the usage patterns and let that drive the right behavior, reach out to the business and find the custodian, the person who can answer those questions about who should have access to what when it comes to your data. This means you can use the policies you have now and extend them into the file system to protect sensitive data and have that part of your compliance routine. The same routine you're already in with your identity governance platform, Identity IQ, extend that routine. You don't have to ask the same questions twice. When they say, hey, what about files? You're like, yeah, same answer. Already got it. Part of the same platform we're using to control applications. And of course, if I can see where my sensitive data is, and I know who has access to it, and I'm putting the right procedures in place, of course I'm mitigating risk. We can establish proper permissions, no more spaghetti nesting with a bunch of different ways of getting access. Narrow it down to the right single path. Find where your data is overexposed, where you have sensitive data that's not properly permissioned, open to everyone, or open so much widely there's no effective control over it. We can monitor for cyber threats as they happen with real-time alerts based on real-time file monitoring, and provide you forensic analysis to get at the root cause. How did they get that access? Where did that access come from? All part of the SailPoint solution. Identity IQ with File Access Manager to govern files and data together. For File Access Manager, it extends connections to all of these endpoints, providing that in-depth analysis, the real-time file monitoring across SharePoint Online and EMCs and NetApp, Satera, SharePoint, Dropbox, Google Drive. You can see the connectivity here. Put in a convenient bundle so you can say, you know what, I need access to all the on-premise storage and Office 365, and away you go. File Access Manager provides these in-depth connectors that go beyond what you have to extend your reach into these file systems. And that means you're taking this identity governance platform you've already got and extending it. You're not rebuilding it. You don't have to go back to square one. Whatever step you are in the process now gets additional capabilities to secure sensitive data, be extremely efficient, implement your policies once, have them apply to all the applications and data that they need, support cloud readiness, on-prem apps, cloud apps, on-prem data, cloud data. We cover it all and accelerate your compliance with regulations. Already doing the work, let that work pay off in even more spots. Not just your apps, not just your mainframes, but your files as well. And with File Access Manager added into Identity IQ, you're going to see results very, very quickly. Our services team will be able to provide you visibility and control in less than 45 days with installation prep, initial setup and requirements, creating the ongoing controls and reports, and building you a transition plan that'll extend your capabilities into all the places it needs, all within that first initial setup period. This is putting the power of file governance together inside your identity governance platform, so it's all in one. What I'd like to do now is show you how this all works. Show you how We govern access to files and uplift that into your identity governance platform so that you can see for yourself one set of controls across all of your data needs. So welcome to SailPoint File Access Manager. We're going to start by taking a look at permissions. Along the left here, you'll see some of the different applications that we provide deep insight into. On the right, the results of our permissions analysis that show us the people who have full control, read and execute, other types of permissions, modify to this particular resource, this folder here, human resources. As we drill down, we get the complete picture of how that access is derived. All of the different ways that Michelle gets access. She gets access through the everyone group. She gets access through several other groups, some of which are nested inside groups that provide her access to that folder. And Michelle has direct full control access to that folder as well. These different permission paths combine together to give us the result. Michelle has full control over this folder. From here, an administrator can take action. We can see how long it's been since Michelle used these permissions. And of course, we get that insight into how these permissions are derived. That level of detail is available from every container, whether it's in SharePoint Online or you've got it in Windows file system or an attached network attached storage device. After permissions, we start to look at data, the sensitive data that sits out here on this file server. Inside the human resources folder, we can see exactly what's there. It's got PII, it's got GDPR information, there's some compressed documents, there's a bunch of other kinds of files out here, and we can see who the owners are. Michelle Perez and Sarah Campbell are the people responsible for this type of sensitive data. All of this information is derived by and shown by File Access Manager. There's also a deep view into activities. I can see every touch on this data. I can see when users were deleted. I can see when files were moved and created. And I can also highlight alerts, places where people are reading sensitive data that's of interest to me. Real-time alerts, an activity monitoring trail, also provided out of the File Access Manager platform. And then we combine all of this information together so that you have complete governance. Governance provided by our governance platform, which is driven from identity and combines together applications and sensitive data. Our governance platform provides us the ability to see when separation of duties is required, where we have people who have entitlements and roles of the business that conflict with other entitlements and roles within our business. We can take steps to remediate those and then dive deeper and take a look at the individual entitlements for our particular user. This user has certain applications that have certain access, and also you can see when access is provided to sensitive data. The fact that this group provides access to high-risk data, low-risk PII, that information is derived from the File Access Manager service and provided here into our entitlement review. We're reviewing together the access to data and access to applications so that managers get complete oversight into the critical places that their employees have access to. And we'd be remiss if we didn't also point out you're getting recommendations as well, driven from machine learning and artificial intelligence. These recommendations tell us whether this access is safe or not safe or needs a little bit more analysis. And these recommendations apply equally to applications and to your sensitive information. Taken together, the ability to see deeply into permissions, the ability to understand how access is derived, the ability to see what's sensitive and what isn't, the ability to understand in real time who's touching that data, what's touching it, and then centralizing all of that into one compliance platform, that's the SailPoint advantage. That's how we're able to show the true compliance and true governance across all of your applications and your data. So now we've seen Identity IQ with File Access Manager in action. If you have any further questions, please reach out to us. We'd love to tell you more about our solutions. Thank you for your time here today. Thank you for coming out and seeing our presentation, and we look forward to talking with you again in the future.